Hey folks, welcome back, another Massive video, and today let's go over Mallow, right? So Mallow Tsareena, it's a sync pair that's in a really interesting state right now, because it feels like she's incomplete, right? And it's not, obviously, the unit's already out, right? The grid's out, all that stuff. Incomplete in the sense that, in terms of her team comps, it could be kind of tricky, and once we get more units that help her down the line, like any grassy terrain units, she would be used pretty differently, right? And we'll talk about those scenarios as well while we're at it. So anyways, just starting it off, right? Mallow is basically a big sync nuker, right? That's what she does. She does it very, very well, right? She could do solid damage on Power Whip as well. And then her other thing is, lowers attack and then has stop hitting herself 5 on AoE Confusion, which is nice as well, but they're not as nice as her damage, right? So, alright, let's talk about it then. So, in terms of, let's just quickly, in terms of like her lucky skill, if you want to run a lucky skill on her, Crit Strike 2 is easily the best one here, right? And again, you're just, most of the time you're trying to do damage with her, right? And she does a really, really good job of that, and obviously Crit Strike 2, in that case, the best, lucky skill, because it also applies to her sync move, right, which is what you want. And in terms of her, sync grid, right, let's start this out, right. So her sync grid, starting from 1 out of 5, again, 1 out of 5, nothing too interesting. Mallow's special MP refresh is really nice to have at 1 out of 5. So then, instead of you're forced to run something that also gives you 1 crit as well, you could just hope to get that MP refresh, and then you could just run something like a Hilbert that doesn't give you any crit but maxes out your attack relatively easily, right? So you could go for something like that. But yeah, again, 1 out of 5, just pick up everything that's not named Trop Kick. Or if you're trying to use her to Trop Kick, lower opponent's attack and not trying to do damage, then obviously pick up everything not named Power Whip then, right? So again, 1 out of 5, nothing too interesting. 2 out of 5 actually is, got some really interesting stuff. So at 2 out of 5, you have both sync move multipliers, right? You got Solar Filler 5 and then Pecking Order. So the unfortunate part is, since you're not 3 out of 5, you can't just go across from here to reach Pecking Order, because this is locked. So you just have to come down here. Although, if you're coming down from here, it saves you more energy. Even though it's 2 tiles versus 1, this is 5 energy here. This is 2, so that's 4. You save 1 energy. But it's just much better to get extra 25 damage buff instead, right? So yeah, unfortunately, you'll just have to make do coming up here. I'd probably go this route to get the extra attack. And then again up here for the Solar Flare. As for some other stuff, right? If you want, you can pick up MP Refresh here as well. So again, you can run something like a Hilbert, instead, or like a Hilbert or Lily, so you don't have to be forced to run, what's, I guess Meganium maybe, or Phoebe, right? Stuff like that, Sings of Blue. And you could also, since you are running Sulfur, you could also come down and run Speeding Sun 3, because her speed's not the greatest, right? So that could definitely help. If you think you have more issues with gauges, instead of this power up, you could pick up Move Gauge Refresh over here, right? If you don't need the accuracy, then you could drop those for 2 power ups. It really depends, right? Although I'd probably pick up the accuracy, because none of the accuracy buffers are really that great with Mallow, right? Being Sabrina and Singsu Lisa, right? Because they're both special buffers, and Mallow's physical. The other one is Clefairy, which Clefairy works really well if you do get the MPR over here, right? So yeah, that's for 2 out of 5, I guess. There really isn't much else to really go for here. As for 3 out of 5, right? 3 out of 5 is where you get most of the stuff, right? You get the extra Crit Strike 1, you get Overwhelm 9, you got Power Posture and Trop Kick if you care about that. You got Stop Hitting Yourself 5, whatever, right? Charging Sun 3. So I'm first gonna go over in my opinion, probably the best you could go for in terms of damage, right? Well, this is an opinion, this is fact, right? In terms of the highest damage you could go for is something like this, right? And uh, picking up the extra sync move plus 25 actually gives you more damage on your sync move than Crit Strike 1 does, right? Obviously you don't have to go for this. If you wanted to pick up Crit Strike 1, you could pick up that, right? Which, Crit Strike 1 also applies to your regular move, so there's that, I guess. But overall damage, yeah, this is better. But again, if you do pick up Crit Strike 1, the benefit is you could come over here and pick up Trop Kick Overwhelm 9, which gives you -2 on your opponent's attack every time you Trop Kick. So that does lower your opponent's attack much quicker, which is again something good to have, right? I guess another option could be coming down here and picking up Stop Hitting Yourself 5. So you could do a bit of a combo Sync Nuker plus confusion sort of tech support thing-ish, right, if you want. So again, that's another option. And if you want, you could also pick up Power Posture to do more damage on your Trop Kicks, either this or this, right? I don't know, I just wouldn't do Trop Kicks BP is just not that great. I'd rather just use your energy spent on Power Whip instead. Obviously this does increase the damage that you do while you're building up for pecking order, but I'm not sure if it's that worth it, right? Unless it's really, really short stages that could be finished with a sync or whatever, right? Then okay, you could pick up Power Posture to do more damage with Trop Kicks, but I'd probably just prefer investing more into Power Up instead of trying to do that, right? If you're running for a full kind of sun build, although again I'm not a huge fan of doing stuff like this, but you could pick up all the sun stuff if you want. Let me see, if you drop that, you don't have enough Crit Strike. Never mind then. But yeah, you could definitely do something like this, I guess. Again, that's just strictly for sun. I just don't think it's really that necessary. I just think pecking orders just it's just too great of a multiplier to give up on. I guess it would be better in really, really short stages where you can't even wait till you lower the opponent's attack to that much and then you already take them out, right? Which I guess is fine. But otherwise, I just always just try to pick up pecking order in all my builds, right? If you're running Mallow just for a pure tech and not to do damage, which I don't know why you do that, it's not that great, and her damage is so good to miss out on. You go here, pick up Overwhelm, down here Stop Hitting Yourself, maybe Tear Dance, Move Gauge Refresh, if you have Sun, maybe Speeding Sun, to sort of fix the speed issue, I guess. But otherwise, again, nothing too interesting there either. But yeah, so before we stop, and move on to other stuff, I do want to talk about team comp issues for a bit, right? And the grassy terrain issue, right? Because again, we don't really have anyone with grassy terrain at the moment, and assuming the future grassy terrain unit is not going to also give Mallow +6 attack and +1 crit, which it very likely won't, right? In terms of between grassy terrain or solar flare, I just drop solar flare, right? It's just better to run the grassy terrain unit over the sun unit, because grassy terrain is a separate multiplier, right? Unlike solar flare 5 is an additive passive, right? It just gives you less damage than grassy terrain, even though they're both 50% buffs. Again, the grassy terrain is a separate multiplier, which you calculate that separately in comparison to additively with solar flare 5. So first of all, grassy terrain just does straight up more damage, and then grassy terrain also applies to your regular moves, right? And then it's 50% even if you pick up Charging Sun 3, which you won't, right? It's not that great. It's 30% versus 50%, right? And again, one's an additive multiplier, the other one's, right, weather, right? And then also you heal in grass terrain. Grass terrain just benefits you so much more than say sun. The only reason I'd see if you won't use it is if the grass terrain user is really, really slow, because Mallow's super slow as well. Maybe you want to run Blaine instead for the extra speed, I guess. But otherwise, you probably just want to run like grassy terrain instead. Like, and if that's the case, I'd probably just go for something more akin to like, picking up stuff like this. You could pick up overall. You could pick up all these all this stuff, or or if you want to go for the absolute like maximum damage, right? You could just go, actually, not solo for that. Again, crit strike 1, right? Because again, we're not bringing sun. It's just in grassy terrain, right? So if you're watching from the future and you have a grassy terrain unit, hopefully this is good. I'm just trying to predict. Again, if it's not like the best, then I do apologize. Again, I can't predict the future in terms of what grassy terrain unit we get. If it's like way too slow, then maybe you just go around here and pick up like the speed instead. You know what? Yeah, this is probably better because you also get like power whip accuracy. So yeah, this is probably better, right? But yeah, in terms of like team comps, right? Something like this would be really great if you're running the before mentioned this thing, right? Or something like similar. Like this is like the basis, right? Whether you go this and this, or go down for this, it's really depends. It's up to you. This fits all 3 of those kind of builds. Phoebe maxes out your crit, maxes out your physical attack. Blaine sets up sun, right? You could replace Phoebe with some units, I guess. You could replace her with blue if you want, or like Hilbert if you picked up like MP refresh on Mallow special, right? And you got the MP refresh for the crit. You could definitely go for Hilbert. Hilbert's actually really good because it'll also give you like great speed, although it shouldn't be that necessary since like Blaine's really fast, right? So you don't have to worry about that much. But yeah, these are definitely some comps that you could potentially go with, right? If you're not running Sun, then you could definitely drop Blaine for like something else. Something great that you could go for is like with Dawn and Torterra, because Dawn and Torterra has the passive power siphon, right? Where it also lowers your opponent's attack every time they attack you as well. So that also helps with Mallow accelerating the attack down status on your opponent, right? And all that. This is a very slow team though, so you would have to rely on like a lot of MP refreshes on Bloom Blasters, for so you could keep up with the gauges. And you probably can't even run Phoebe just because Phoebe's way too slow. But again, this is definitely an option. Very great defensive team at least. So there's that. Anyways, yeah, let's move to this one, I guess. I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know guys think in the comments down below. Like this video, so we're on our channel for some more Pokemon Masters content. I'll see you guys in the next one.